Hello. I'm Terry Owen, as you know. This is our annual South Hayward Parish special plate. Our guest is Aaron Horner, who is a pastor and the director of outreach for vision and development at First Pres in Hayward, which is actually in Castro Valley next to Trader Joe's. SHP, as most of you know, we were founding members of SHP with about 10 other congregations about 60 years ago now. And in 2019, there was a crisis, and SHP was very likely to have to go out of business. And as you know, SHP was our major place where our UU values were alive in the community. We merged. It was a tremendous blessing to be able to merge with First Presbyterian. They were strong. They brought a strength that South Hayward Parish never had, and a dedication to all of the values that SHP believed in. So it was a wonderful merger. It was in October of 2019, and when the pandemic hit, and there was so much unemployment suddenly, and so much the food pantry went from like a corner store operation to like a drive-through Costco thing. And First Pres was able to do that, and SHP never closed the doors during the pandemic. So now I want Aaron to talk to us a little bit about the depth of the programs that we have now addressing homelessness and in our community, some of the most vulnerable of our neighbors. So thank you, and Aaron, please.
Good morning, everybody. How we doing? Looks like I'm in the right place. I wore the right hat. Y'all been talking about goodness all day, so I'm wearing it because y'all mentioned the word goodness quite a bit. I just want to start with a little bit of gratitude. I want to thank Reverend Soli. I want to thank you for welcoming me today. I also want to thank you for that moment of reflection. I needed that. You know, it's been a week. You know, it's been a time. It's been the last couple of weeks. Just need a second to center, so I appreciate that. I want to thank my friend Levon, who's over here, who I've not seen in a very long time. It's so good to see you. Good friend Levon, who's very encouraging and always, you know, when I first came to the food pantry, Levon was there every single day, making sure that I was, you know, how are you doing, Aaron? I was like, well, nobody ever really asked me that, wanting to know an answer. You know what I mean? And Levon really wants to know. Thank you, Terry. Ever since I was actually hired in that transition. So I started working in October of 2019, which is when that transition happened. And Terry onboarded me and taught me the way of SHP and got me connected to all of the things that existed and helped to connect those to the systems that were being built there. I also want to thank Rennie, who's come out and fixed shower heads and toilet handles and doorknobs. There's been several things that Rennie has done, and there's many more. I know he's waiting on me to get back to him with answers about, but thank you, Rennie, for all of that. Just thank you, Starr King. I see you everywhere with your bright yellow shirts. Nobody's wearing one today, but I recognize your shirts. I recognize you in the community. You're a steadfast force that's out there. I see faces here that I see at community events, just walking around town, and it's always when there's work to be done. Thank you. To talk about what we do, you know, I'm going to list some numbers, if that's all right with you guys. Hopefully I don't lose you. I'm trying to keep up with the pace of things, but I just want to rattle them to you in a way that could be impactful. Between both of our, if you understand the elements that we operate, we have two locations. One is First Pres Hayward, which is located in Castro Valley. which was founded in 1896, by the way. So a lot of the things that happen today could have been witnessed, right, that we heard about today from the Reverend Soli. Could have been witnessed by the folks that were here back then. We do actually have a 50-bed shelter in Castro Valley. So every night we sleep 50 folks inside of our gym there. We have a daytime resource center there. We also have 6 tiny homes, and we have quite a few things going on throughout the day, different connections. I'm going to touch on a few of those in a moment, but there's a recovery cafe there. Pretty soon we'll open up a computer lab that's actually a branch of the Alameda County Library on our site. And through this past year, we were able to serve 1,174 unhoused unique individuals between both sites. We have a 21-bed shelter at South Hayward Parish that we're looking to expand here this year to 23 beds. And we're putting all these numbers together just so you can understand the gravitas, exactly everything that happens there. With those 1,174 unique individuals, so that's not one person being served 1,000 times, that's 1,174 people. And the point in time count in that same year, we found that there's 891 unique individuals in that area, but we served 1,174 of the 891. Anybody catching the math on that? Any engineers in the room? There's a lot more than we think there are. There's a lot more than we think there are. And we're not able to count everybody because everybody's moving. A lot of people have things going on you'll never know because they're your neighbors. There might be some folks sitting in this room who are experiencing homelessness in a moment. With those 1,174 individuals, we were able to provide 79,422 instances of service. So that'd be somebody coming in for a bed, that'd be somebody getting a shower, somebody getting a meal, someone sitting down with a case manager, someone being connected to any type of resource. The cost per night, everybody's like, what does it cost to do this? If you take that and take all of those people, all of the costs, and you divide it out, it's $127 per night per person. A little cheaper than some of the other solutions out there, huh? The average length of stay in days is 37. And if I was to show you this chart, I'd love it if anybody wants to see it afterwards, I can show you this chart that shows that there's racial disparity in the people that make up our community and the people that we serve in the homeless community. We heard a little bit about that today from Reverend Soli. It began back then and it exists today. There's some plans out there in the county. I can talk about those afterwards. I'm going to stick around for coffee time after if anybody had any questions. I'd love to talk about what some of the plans are for housing solutions. I do want to touch a little bit on the food pantry, right? So folks talk about food pantry, the drive-through Costco. I'm going to actually use that from now on, and I'm going to credit you. The first 3 times I'm going to credit you. After that, in this last year, we served 3,760 households. That's households. Out of that, there were 11,686 household members for 28,448 instances of services with 2.5 million pounds of food. And that sounds significant. However, in Alameda County, there are 134,800 individuals that are struggling with food insecurity. Much more needed out there. I can also show you the chart of the racial issues that exist in food insecurity as well. So talk a little bit more about some of the things Ms. Terry asked me to speak on today. In our recovery, in our resource centers, we have several things going on. So we have the shelter at nighttime, right? And that's a set group of individuals. We do some things to make it to where people can feel at home in those spaces. But also in the daytime, we let anyone come in that is experiencing homelessness that needs a resource. So at both sites, both in South Hayward and here in Castro Valley, folks can come in and get access to services. Folks can get access to computers. Folks can get access to a phone, a printer, which these are all things that are not available in any other way and are critical to be able to move forward in the situation. ID waivers, mailing addresses, things that just are not available out there. Another one is, the meals, right? So we serve 3 hot meals a day, 7 days a week in both locations. Saturday lunch is a bag lunch. I just want to be clear. Okay, that's different. But also, folks have access to the donations. I walked in and I saw so much stuff here in the front. I'm very, very excited because after this, I go to what we call Stack Life, which is really my why. The reason I'm here, I am the director of outreach for Vision and Development now. I was the director of all the programming, and now I've moved into a new role more around development and vision piece. But the reason that I do this is for Stack Life. Everybody say Stack Life. All right, so anybody know what the stack is?
Sorry, it's a newsletter from the city of Hayward.
It's a newsletter from the city of Hayward, right? The haystack? Got you. See, look at that, the stack. All right, so folks that were raised in my area, you know, we called Hayward the stack. We call Oakland the town, and San Francisco is? There we go, ladies and gentlemen, we got this. I'm in the right place, I'm telling you. I feel very validated in this room. I love it. So Stack Life is actually the church that I came here to start. And that's a church that happens at South Hayward Parish. I don't know if y'all know about in the past, but that location used to be Westminster Hills Presbyterian, and there was Mount Eden Presbyterian, and they merged together to make New Bridges. There you go. Look at this. Man, we got some historians in the room. And so New Bridges Presbyterian happens over there off of Hesperian, what used to be Mount Eden Presbyterian. And so the space there at South Hayward Parish was made to be this outlet of values for many faith communities, interfaith space. And so my goal was to come to Hayward, and I was raised right there on Rieger. I don't know, do you guys know where Rieger is? It's the street right before, right before that stop sign on Patrick, if you guys are there. So that's where I was at. And so I love that space. I had actually done a lot of work referring people to the South Hayward Parish in the past. And so to be able to come back and work there was great. And so what I did was I actually helped to start a church there for the unhoused community. So every Sunday afternoon, we have showers. So we open up another day of showers because the shelters are closed, right? And so from 12 to 4, we have showers. We have a hot lunch. We also have a time for people to do exactly what's happening in this room, and I've been a part of it, and I just want to give gratitude to all of you for allowing me to be there, to be able to enjoy this, which is a space where people can grow love. That's what I felt when I was walking in here. That's what I felt throughout this entire service. Just this space where people can take part in love. So I just want to express a lot of gratitude for each one of you for that. I'll tell you 2 quick stories if I got time. Do I? We good? Okay, looking at the boss. She says good. I don't want to be one of those men that comes in and take it over. I just want to be... I'm okay with you telling me no. And I'm okay with you telling me no, because this is your space, your house. I will not be taking over. Tell you two stories. One is about one of our brothers. He came to us. He lived in Hayward his whole life. He's in his early 40s. And he cared for both of his parents. And both of his parents were ill. He was an in-home care provider for them. And unfortunately, both of them passed away. And while he was living with his parents, he had gone to Weeks Park. Anybody know where that's at? There you go. All right. Gone to Weeks Park and hung out with some of the folks that were unhoused out there, got to know them. And when he became unhoused, because he lost his parents and he lost his house, he lost all of his revenue, he went to the park and he started to ask these folks that he had helped before, what do I do? And they said, go across the street, that church right there, right? And that church helped him out in a few different ways. He had a vehicle, right? He had a place to stay in his vehicle, but they got him connected. And then he came up to me, he wanted to join in on Stack Life. He went with us to Stack Life for several months and said, hey man, I'm looking for some work. I was like, okay, what do you want to do? I don't know. Well, tomorrow morning, you can put groceries in bags and get them ready in this food pantry, right? Just like many of you have done before, coming in pre-bagging things for the food pantry. That guy came every single day. Came in the morning, came in the afternoon. And after a while, I told him, I was like, hey, why don't you check out, there's this organization called Downtown Streets Team. Do you guys know what that is? They do this work where they actually help folks who are unhoused by giving them gift cards. And then they support them and say, hey, if you come and volunteer for a few hours, I'm going to give you this gift card. And they clean up our streets. You might have seen them. They push around a little cart. They're wearing bright colored shirts, very similar to a local church. Right here. It looks like your shirts. And they walk around and they pick up trash in our community, right? And it's a dignified income opportunity for them. So then they take this individual, right, provide an avenue for support, and then if they do really well, they promote them. So this brother I'm talking about, in about 2 months, became a team lead. And so he actually got on payroll, so no longer gift cards, now it's cash. And then very shortly after that, he became a supervisor of several different leads. And you might see him if you ever go to the downtown street party. You guys know the downtown Hayward parties? He's the one leading the team of people that are cleaning up that entire space, right? So at that party, I saw him and I was like, hey man, that's what's up, man. Let's go over here and talk to my friends over here. And what we had done, he had recently, after, sorry, I skipped one step. He was part-time there at Downtown Streets team in the daytime, and then I offered him a job in the shelter. I was like, hey, maybe check it out one day. So he came and he actually became a part-time assistant, you know, in the shelter, like helping to run the shelters. But nobody knows his situation. He's just an employee, right? Just a guy who comes. So he works part-time with us, part-time with them. Now he has a full-time income. Things are coming together. And at the last downtown party, BACS, Bay Area Community Services, you guys ever heard of them? They have that space called Headco, corner of B and, y'all know what that's at, the Launderlux. What's that street? That's what I said, Grand. I never know what that street is. You turn left right after, anyways. So BACS was there, and they did an assessment for him. They put him in the system called coordinated entry, and the next morning I got a phone call from BACS, and they said, hey, your guy got in. I was like, he got in where? So the Navigation Center. The Navigation Center out on Depot Road is a place for people that have income to be able to get in for several months, be able to get some support, and they provide this thing called rapid rehousing funding, which is government funding that can help to pay first month's rent, last month's rent, a deposit, helping with the furniture, those kinds of things. I get a phone call last week from a woman who's asking for a reference for this guy. Do you think I should rent to him? I got a room available. I said, yes. What else can I say? What do you need? You know, I'm like, what does this phone call need to look like? And then he messages me on Friday night and says, hey man, I got in. I got in. And the reason I tell that story is not to highlight First Pres, because that's not what we're doing here. I'm highlighting you. I want to give gratitude to you all here at Starr King, because all we are at First Pres is a reflection of all the love of the community that comes together to support that brother and all the steps that he had to take to get to where he is. And the reason that happened is because when he went to Weeks Park, somebody said, go to that church across the street that you all have been supporting. You all created that program. So I just want to express gratitude to you on that. Last little story I'll tell real quick. With permission. So I myself am in recovery. And there's some things that we have that are unique happening here in Castro Valley that we're looking to replicate in several places. One of the issues we have is the shelter closes at 7 a.m. Daytime Resource Center opens at 10 a.m. This has caused issues in the community. Folks have to leave our property, come back. So about a year and a half ago, we actually opened this thing called a Recovery Cafe. And the Recovery Cafe is a space where people can hang out, drink coffee, be in community with each other, very similar to what we're about to do, I think. Hopefully. There's good coffee. All right. And then they can work on their sobriety, right? And so there's this space where people can now not have to go out on the street. They can come and hang out, work on centering. We do some of those exercises. There's a recovery circle each day. There's ways for people to give back. They have to be sober right now in this second. They don't have to have any amount of time, just sober right now. They need to be able to give back to the community, so sweeping the floor, helping with a circle, making a thing, whatever is their ability to give. And then they also have to be able to go to one of these weekly meetings. So now we have this space available for that. In the afternoons, there's a gap of time where 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., we got to clean up the shelter, so we got to have people leave so we can do this thing. And the library has worked with us. We got some government funding to be able to install a computer lab there. And then the library will be sending out a librarian. We do need volunteers in the afternoon, just a shameless plug. If anybody wants to come down and sit with folks and help them with applications, applying for jobs, doing whatever you need to do. And then that will be open here shortly. And then what will happen is anybody who comes in Sunday night won't have to leave the property until Saturday morning when we close. So it could be there 24 hours a day throughout the entire week. So I'm really excited about that. The story I was going to tell, is about my recovery. So I'm actually in recovery myself, and I have a sponsor. My initial sponsor was this guy from this church, this Christian church that I was a part of. He had some issues. He fell off the wagon. And I was in meetings, and I didn't have a sponsor. I'm going to this thing, and then, anybody else been disconnected in a room of people before? Okay, not here, but you know what I'm talking about. So then I found this sponsor, this person that really spoke to me. Every time I heard them share, it was really helpful and really open for me. And this person, I asked them, hey, would you want to be a sponsor? And they said, yeah. This person, and I'm raised, church, right? A lot of the things you mentioned are challenging. I've been raised in those things and have learned new ways. And this sponsor is agnostic. This sponsor is running away from the church in many different ways for very, very good reasons. And I ended up getting with this sponsor. I've been working with him. December 3rd, it'll be 7 years, my sobriety with him. And the beautiful thing is, we had this book that we read, and inside of it, some of the step work, there's one of them that you write your definition of your divine, definition of your higher power. And in that book, he wrote in there, for me, he said, I wanted you to see my definition. He said, my definition of higher power is love. How come that's not the same as everybody else's? That's what was originally written. That was the original idea. That's what I've been able to experience today. So I just want to thank you all for that. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. Thank you for supporting the work we do at South Hayward Parish. Thank you for being the actual work that happens there. Appreciate you.